my name's Dave and you're watching the latest episode of my ongoing boat renovation project here in Ireland. If you're new to the channel, please take the time to subscribe, and if you enjoy what you're watching, please remember to give me a thumbs up. Okay, well, it's been a while since my last video, and it's now January 2020 here in Ireland. The weather has been relatively mild for winter, but winter's not over here yet. It can last right into April and May here in Ireland. So we could be through the worst of it, we may not, we don't really know. At the moment it's kind of wet and miserable outside, though it's not really mad cold, but it's still not great for walking outside. I've been doing a bit of work on the boat on and off, but not really anything of any consequence. For the most part, for the last couple of months, what I've been working on is my house, retrofitting insulation in the attic space and elsewhere in the house to make it warmer. We're here in Ireland in the middle, probably like most of the places in the world, in a kind of energy saving thing here, and retrofitting insulation to save on energy has become a big thing. So I decided to do my bit for the environment and also to save money, because it costs a lot to heat a house, and if you can save the heat that you're generating, all the better. So it's actually been a great project, and it's worked really well and has massively improved the heat in the house and reduced the amount of oil that I've had to burn and firewood in the fire to heat the house. So it's been a real success. So I'd recommend it to anyone to do something similar. Anyway, that's completely unrelated to the boat project. So what I'm doing here now is, as I said in the last episode, I'm continuing on trying to finish things that I can do in here in my workshop in the basement. So today what I'm going to work on is the rudder. The rudder is roughly shaped. I've made this attachment point for the where the tiller is going to attach out of stainless steel. So what I'm going to do is, this is going to have to be treated in some way to preserve it, because I've put a lot of work into making this rudder, so I don't really want to see it rot on the boat. So what I've decided to do is I'm going to coat this with fiberglass and then paint it then. So that will help preserve the timber and keep it. Yes, it'd be lovely to keep it as a plain piece of Iroko, but I really don't want to have to make this every year or two, because it's rotted from just exposure to the weather and from being in the water as well. So it's a decision I've made, somewhat with a heavy heart, because it'd be lovely to keep it as a natural piece of wood, but you have to be realistic about these things, and it's a functional part of the boat, so something you don't want to deteriorate. So I'm going to have to reduce the size of this here, because once it's fiberglassed and painted, this still has to attach. So I'm going to thin this down a little bit here, this attachment point, and I'm going to do a bit more prep work on this internal part here, where the metal part of the drop-down rudder fits as well, to make it smooth and nice for doing the laminating of the fiberglass on that too. So hope you can stay along with me and enjoy watching this part, and let's get on doing a bit of work. Right, so that's where the pivot point for the drop-down metal part of the rudder is going to be. So I've drilled that out oversized, and I intend to fill that with epoxy and then re-drill it then through. So there's going to be a little bushing inside that as well. I've done all the prep work on this since the start of this video. But for some reason it didn't record all the sanding and finishing I did on the rudder. So you just have to imagine that took place. The joys of videoing your work is that sometimes it just gets messed up. The work gets done, doesn't get videoed. What can you do? I can't stage it again so you can see it. So you just have to imagine me sanding it endlessly. So the good thing about using the hole saw is I'm able to drill through and get it to match on both sides evenly, because the pilot hole locates through, and I can just drill through back through the pilot hole that way, which made it all work just like that. So that's something that has worked out. Something that hasn't worked out, which I'm not really happy with, is I've done a bit on this this attachment for where the tiller is going to go on, and I'm just not convinced at this stage this is what I want to do. I've made it. Put this in there. I made it this way here, that it hooks on like that, bolts through here, so then when the tiller's, you know, when you're stopped somewhere and you want the tiller to not stick out into the cockpit, you can just pivot it up out of the way into an upright position like that, and I don't know, maybe tie it off or something out of the way. I'm just not certain this is how I want it. I don't know, it's... One of the things about it is the pitch of where it sits, like on the back of the boat the rudder actually sort of sits like that. So I think that's right, because it's like it's level across the cockpit, or as level as it can be. Maybe I'm just overthinking this. Maybe I'm just overthinking this. Procrastinating instead of just, you know, moving on and getting it done. Yeah, I think I am. I think I've spent too much time thinking about this after I did it, worrying about is it going to work, isn't it work, is it right, is it wrong, and looking at it now, I think it'll work fine. If anything, I think I probably need to take a little bit more off this, because I think if I make it so it's really tight on the finished fiberglass, it'll end up just like rubbing on it and wearing on it. But what I really want to do is put in some kind of a bushing between this stainless steel piece and the rudder, finished rudder piece. So I think I might take a little bit more off of this rudder, blank as it is, and then I can put in a piece of HDP plastic as a bushing on either side, and then that'll just pivot on the HDPE bushing. I think that'll be a better job. I think that's going to be alright. It's a pretty stiff mix, so I think it's going to stand up, it's not going to slump on me. And to give it the best chance, I think I'll just leave it on its edge like that. Because I think it's stiff enough, it's not going to drop that way. It'd only drop if it was fully upside down or whatever, so even that I probably wouldn't, but this gives both sides an equal chance of setting and staying in place, so it's already going off, so it is. So I think that'll be good. Okay, so that seems to have set up alright. Nothing stuck to that. Inside it's a good neat finish. That's inside it. Looks pretty neat. And the other end as well set up good. So I'll just Give this a bit of sand just to clear up any excess on it. Yeah, okay. It's obviously going to be split half and half, so it'll only be within each side, it'll be cut in half, because the blade for the drop down rudder will be in the centre. I'll be turning on that, but that's good, happy with that. Okay, so there's still a little bit of slop in that because it's going to be tight once fiberglass goes on it, but that's the idea. Right, so with the tiller arm in place, this is what it's going to look like that. And I'm not sure if I need a pin through here at the front edge to lock it up. I don't think so. Once it's all fiberglass and it tightens it all up, I don't think there's going to be any need for that, because once it's down, that's locked over that, how much more locking up do you need? But if it is, I can do it, it's no problem. So then when it's in the upright position, when you're not using the rudder, put it up like that and it's out of the way. And I think that would be more than enough rudder and tiller. So is it over-engineered for the boat? Absolutely. Do I give a damn? No. I'd rather make it stronger and over-engineered than weaker and worry about it, you know, snapping off at some stage. So that's it. That's all I can do for the moment until I fiberglass the rudder blank. Right, so we'll leave that to one side again, because today is definitely not fiberglassing weather. It's pouring rain out there and miserable as all hell, so not going to do any fiberglassing today. I can't do it here in the basement because I did do a polyester resin fiberglass here in the basement one day, and it literally stank the whole house out. It's that strong of stuff. I mean, the wet system itself, there's absolutely no smell of it, but the polyester resin really stinks. So we ain't going to be doing that. So I'm working on putting these furring strips on the cabin top to be able to insulate the cabin top on the inside here, and then to sort of sheet over it either with plywood or PVC. I'm not really sure yet, haven't decided. PVC paneling might be easier because it's in sort of a tongue and groove type configuration, or even timber tongue and groove if I get a source for that at a good price. So I'm basically just doing the furring strips at the moment because it's something I can do even the weather the way it is, and just cracking on with that. Of this rear section of the around where the companionway is, and I'm just moving on to the forward section here in the V-berth. Right, I think that's everything I can do today. Leave that alone, come back to it. Right, so just continuing on with this, putting these furring strips on for the insulation and the sort of paneling I'm going to put on the inside of the boat here. Days are short, and it's hard to get anything done on the boat, to be honest about it. But try and do a little bit what I can and keep the thing moving along. It's now 4:30 in the afternoon, and in another hour it'll be pitch black. So it's not really conducive for walking long evenings at the boat. I have the light set up out here now, and I'm going to try and crack on and get as much of this done this evening as I can. But I'm not 100% sure how this is going to fare out, so I think what I'm going to do is just try this one on this evening, have them all cut now, and come out tomorrow morning and see how this one is done, and if it's alright I can glue the other ones in place the same way. Yeah. Yeah, that seems to be getting a pretty good hold. I think I'm just going to go for it. So this is the next evening. Spend a few more hours out here doing these rest of these bits on the cabin sides. Right around there. Across the front. Around this side. And back around to here. Obviously these bits on the cabin sides are not straight, there's a curve to them. So what I did was I measured the pieces and cut the angles on them, and then I made these scarf joints, cut them at an angle. It's a 50-degree angle I cut them at, and meant by cutting them in sections I could get them to follow the curve of the cabin, and did that across the top. Okay, so I'm back on the boat the next week, and you can see I'm working on doing the first layer of insulation. And what I'm using to do this are these mats here. I'm sure viewers that watch Sailing Uma will know that they did their insulation using the very same mats. I bought my mats to do this long before Uma ever thought about doing it. So I think we can say it was a draw that both of us thought of doing this this very same thing, because these are pretty inexpensive. They don't absorb any water, and while they're not actually designed for insulation, they do have insulation value to them, and in tandem with the other thermal wrap stuff that I've already used on the boat as well, this stuff, I think they're going to a really good job. That's not going to be susceptible to rot and anything like that. So that's what I'm doing today. So I've made a start on this, and I'm going to try and work my way around the rest of it. Good job I saved these templates because they made this a whole lot easier. I was able to take out one half and then line up the other side of the template and then mark it in place, and then put back in the other piece and then mark that to cut them out. So this center piece, I've left this for the moment until I fix them in place, because then I can cut them out. I don't want to, well, I'll cut them before I glue them. That's what I'll do. I'll cut them, but I don't want to cut them now, otherwise these bits will be falling around the place. So I'm not going to glue it today, so I'll just leave it. So before I glue it, I'll cut these ones out in the center ones, and then glue that piece in place, that piece in place, and the same on this side here. But that one there, because it's in two pieces, I was able to cut it out fully, and that one there as well. So that's all the insulation on the cabin sides cut out and put in place, and those ones there at the front are just pushed fit in. They don't need anything to hold them in place. But these ones, because they're going to be, you know, just the thin part of it above and below, I just want to stick a little bit of adhesive on them. Probably use the very same construction adhesive that I use for fixing the timber. I think it'll work okay. I might just try a sample piece on a piece of the leftover foam, stick it to a piece of timber, just to see how it works, how it reacts to the foam, because I don't want to splodge it all over the foam and then find it damages it in some way. Okay, well that brings us to the end of another episode. If you've enjoyed watching it, please remember to give me a thumbs up, and if you haven't already done so, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next time.